Hello and welcome to another modelling video. This is Alan from the Mecha at YouTube with another model video. Sometimes a little more experimental and fun. Was given this wooden box with a glass front by a friend. A challenge and group build for a club. And this is what I decided to go with it. The theme being covered inside this picture frame box is Vore, or particularly soft Vore, a very obscure fetish, sometimes appear in multiple media like anime, manga, all that sort of thing. It is when you're being eaten or swallowed whole, not blood or chopped up, and you're living or seen going down the throat, stomach, digestive tract, that sort of thing, either from an internal point of view or external. I'm purely going internal. To make sure everything fit, I measured out the box and the plate inside quite sufficiently and decided to model directly off the back plate. I utilised this figure from my sales stash, something that's not too expensive, a Sega or a soft vinyl figure that comes from game trading boxes and whatnot, approximately 1/7 scale in size. A nice little diorama. Built styrene walls around the inner part of the box so I'm able to fill it up and position the figure. The figure does need to fit undistorted, so the legs and the top of the head, so we don't see the expression or the face. It's more telling to see the other parts, a bit of a shock fest. So they were all chopped up with a saw. As I'll be using 2-part epoxy putty to fill it up, detail and sculpt it, I went through the club's bits box and just utilised very boxy, already cut up and damaged parts from kit bashing and scratch building, or first grade kits that are not really wanted by anyone that was given out the event. I clumped them together and glued them down into place. With the figure, I started to be a bit playful and wanted to darken it in the darkened areas, so started hand painting the bathing suit and shaded features with the airbrush in black. Probably went a bit too strong with this. This is the bit I've had the most fun. I started stretching out putty inside the box and sculpting a little bit of fleshy details and balls and bulbs and whatnot, and making sure that the gullet and some of the areas fit very well around the figure. I removed the figure, textured it a bit more, and then added automotive polyester putty to smooth out certain areas, give it a bit of a slimy look. The lot was primed with automotive primer to microfill any imperfections. The painting was equally fun and was done over a few hours at the club, all in lacquers. I chose out a series of reddish browns, red, pinks, all sorts of fleshy colours, and started just blending them and colouring in, and then putting over tones of purple and blue to get veiny effects, and just did a little bit of shading in certain areas and shadowed and under areas and whatnot. Had the bottom, the top and the sides of the walls all different tones, and it just blended together really well. It had this serious disgusting look, and heavily coated it in clear gloss for a slime. The figure itself received many coats of lacquer gloss and floor polish to also build up the slime and wet look. To add a bit of extra movement and creep factor, the figure started to shadow in the little hole area, not too bad, with a bit of wire and more putty, 2 tentacles pushing the figure down. The hand that just happened to be out was grabbed by the wrist and also caressed by the lower calf. Just worked out with the body language of the figure. These were completely removable, painted and shaded in the ideal tones and glued into place with PVA. It's looking okay, very quick. I did make a bit of a mistake, but I've learned a lot and I think the effect looks fairly cool. Got the Vallejo still water, as it's not very fume intensive and you apply in thin layers. What I didn't know is when you put many layers, each surface is visible and clouds it up a bit. So I started filling up the little trough and trying to partially submerge the figure so it's completely wet. Didn't want a complete clear look, as it's not in clean water, it's in something that's mixing with, you know, stomach juices and saliva and all sorts of things. So just built over that over every couple of days. I put a very thin layer and just sort of build up. In the end, as a water effect, it's not an ideal product, but it definitely did something interesting. Wouldn't use it again, except for something else I have in mind. And this is the finished result. It's not too easy to photograph because it's behind glass. The previous picture is a far better indication of how it turned out. Though once put on display at Model Expo, people found it very interesting. It tells a unique story. It's very slimy, it's very disgusting. People cringed and pulled their face. Some found it very cool. It was just a different project to bring out a different emotion or response from people from the usual, oh cool, an aircraft, or shiny, or wow, a robot. So this is just a different type of modelling, a different type of storytelling, and just a chance to play with sculpting, be very playful with the airbrush, and just have fun without worry. Thank you very much for watching. As always, until next time, stay tuned for further content. Have a look at the description section for references. Have a look at Facebook for our usual posts, work in progresses, events, and other interesting information. Usual uploads. I'm very happy to answer any sort of questions in the description section, and catch you guys next time. Thank you for watching.